What's going on, everybody? Mike here with iSMELL. Hope this video is finding everybody warm and well. In today's video, what I wanted to do was to pull some of my more cost-effective fragrances from my shelf. What I have for y'all are 5 winter fragrances. Every single one of these are gonna have you smelling great without breaking the bank. I do also want to let you know that I will be including one honorable mention. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. This first fragrance is only at the honorable mention spot today because I do feel like for a good majority of people, they're going to find this to be a kind of challenging wear, even more so if you are new to the fragrance hobby. This first one comes from the Middle Eastern house of Latafa. The name of this fragrance is Ragba Wood Intense. All right, so anybody who is familiar with Maison Margiela's By the Fireplace, you kind of come to know what to expect with this one. It does have a smoky vibe. In this one, it's even more amplified. You're gonna get burnt sugars up top, smoky notes in the middle, and then very resinous, woody notes in the dry down. For $30 to $40, you can't go wrong, especially if you love smoky notes. Definitely one worth checking out today. Again, from the house of Latafa, we have Ragba Wood Intense. Okay, so in the case of this first fragrance, it is worth noting that it is quite possibly one of the more awkward bottles that I currently own. All that aside, it remains to be one of the more one-on-one smelling clones that I currently own. Fragrance number 1 comes from the Middle Eastern house of Al Haramain. The name of this fragrance is Detour Noir. All right, so anybody who just got a good look at that bottle knows how horrendous it is. The bottle is awkward, the lettering is peeling off, the plastic feels cheap, the atomizer is trash. It is quite possibly the epitome of it's the juice that matters. Now, for those of y'all that are unaware, this one here is a dead ringer for the extremely popular niche fragrance from Parfums de Marly called Layton, mind you, at a fraction of the cost. When I picked this one up last summer, I want to say it was going for right around $35, but as is going to be the case with a majority of these hype fragrances, when the demand increases, as does the price, and because availability is kind of scarce right now, the resale market has gone kind of crazy. My advice would be to just sign yourself up on an email list and get notified. That way you're not paying the crazy price. For about $30 to $60, you're going to be money. Even at $60, you're still paying half of what Layton goes for. Now, I do also want to let you know to not refer to Fragrantica for the note listing because currently they have Detour Noir with the notes of Pegasus on there. I just want to avoid any confusion. The notes on Detour Noir is pretty much going to mirror Layton, and by that, I mean you get green apple, bergamot, vanilla, lavender, cardamom, as well as sandalwood. This one is going to open up with a semi-sweet and fruity, fresh, almost menthol-y vibe that will begin to dissipate into some of the more spiced apple accords that this scent profile is synonymous with. That's what you're going to get for the majority of the fragrance, but there will also be a warm, woody, and slightly musky dry down. All the while, that sweetness remains throughout the entire composition and it comes across as being balanced. If you're looking for an excellent alternative to Parfums de Marly's Layton and you want one at a great price, this is definitely one worth checking out. There's a reason why so many people have this on their lists. At the number 1 spot from Al Haramain, we have Detour Noir. Okay, so this second one is one that I picked up based off of Sarah from Glam Fine's recommendation about 3 or 4 months ago, and coming in at right around the $30 to $40 price point, it definitely constitutes as a winter cheapie fragrance which should be on your radar. Fragrance number 2 comes from the car manufacturer Mercedes. The name of this one is Mercedes-Benz Select Night. All right, so this one is gonna put you in a similar realm as Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Smells really good. It smells really good, you guys, but I do want to let you know that it is not a 1-to-1 clone. If anything, it gets you about 60 to 65% there, and more so in the dry down. I do also want to be honest with y'all. This is nowhere near as rich and complex as Tom Ford's Noir Extreme, but I mean, that makes sense considering the Tom Ford fragrance is like 3 or 4 times the price. Don't let that dissuade you though, because Mercedes-Benz Select Night is a great smelling fragrance in and of itself and can stand on its own merit. The notable notes on Mercedes-Benz Select Night is going to include orange blossom, lavender, vanilla, cardamom, guaiac wood, as well as sandalwood. This one is going to open up with some moderately sweet and fresh florals being blended with aromatic lavender as well as powdery vanilla. The main accords in this fragrance is going to include fresh, sweet, and powdery. That's what you're going to get for the majority of the fragrance, and it will also dry down similar to the last fragrance with some warm, woody notes, but just has a tinge of spiciness. This is not an ultra spicy fragrance. All in all, it smells amazing, you guys. It's a really great fragrance for the price. If you're looking for a great date night fragrance that you can wear at night that's gonna cut through the cold at $30 to $40, this is definitely one worth checking out. It's gonna have you smelling great without breaking the bank this winter. At the number 2 spot from Mercedes-Benz, we have Mercedes-Benz Select Night. Okay, so the third fragrance that we're gonna be talking about today is one that I picked up based off of the homie Dedrick Hicks Jr. review of it. For those of y'all that love tobacco fragrances, this one's gonna be right up your alley. Fragrance number 3 comes from Rayan Tradition. The name of this one is Insurrection 2 Wild. All right, so for right around the $30 price point, you are going to be getting a fragrance that apparently shares many similarities to the now discontinued fragrance from Mugler called Pure Havane. I say apparently because up until this point, I have not been fortunate enough to get my nose on Pure Havane, but it has been upvoted over 500 times on Fragrantica as smelling similar to it, so I mean that has to kind of count for something. The notable notes on Insurrection 2 Wild is going to include tobacco, honey, spices, vanilla, cacao, as well as tonka. Now this one is going to open up with some really sweet but also dry and dusty cherry pipe tobacco being blended with a very resinous honeyed vanilla. I say cherry because although it's not listed in the notes, there is definitely a cherry type of smell in this scent profile. The sweetness of the fragrance seems to hold up for a good majority of the fragrance's life, and then on the back end, once it begins to settle and dry down, you do also begin to start noticing the cacao as well as the tonka. It just kind of aids the tobacco notes, but it also gives it a little bit of extra complexity and depth. Again, for right around that $30 price point, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better tobacco fragrance. I mean, maybe, and I mean maybe, CK Shock, but personally, I do believe this Insurrection 2 Wild blows that one out of the water. Definitely a fragrance going to have you smelling great this winter without breaking the bank. At the number 3 spot from Rayan Tradition, we have Insurrection 2 Wild. All right, so when it comes to these lists, I generally do enjoy including a blue fragrance, and that's for a couple reasons. Firstly, they are extremely likable. Secondly, they are usually and typically fragrances that are easy to reach for. This next one is no exception. Fragrance number 4 comes from Salvatore Ferragamo. The name of this one is Aqua Essenziale Blue. So this one isn't a clone of anything per se, but it is generally recognized within the community as kind of smelling like a hybrid of a couple of different fragrances, that being Bleu de Chanel as well as Versace's Dylan Blue. I do see where people are coming from when they say that, but I believe Aqua Essenziale Blue does its own thing. It stands out as unique between even those two, or many blue fragrances for that matter, and at $30 to $40, that's definitely the case. The notable notes on Aqua Essenziale Blue is going to include lemon, lavender, tonka, cypriol oil, ambroxan, as well as benzoin. So, as is going to be the case with many fragrances coming out of the blue genre, this one included. What you get up top is fresh citruses and ambroxan being blended with floral notes, in this case lavender. Where this one diverges from some other blue fragrances like Dylan Blue and Chanel is that it doesn't use an incense note. Instead, what Alberto Moreales, the king of freshies, did himself was include both cypriol oil as well as benzoin, which gives this one a green herbaceous and very resinous vibe. It helps this fragrance, quite frankly, just cut through the cold like butter. It's a beautiful fragrance. Although it's not my favorite blue fragrance of all time, I do need to give credit where credit is due. It smells great, you guys, and at $30 to $40, that's going to be hard to beat. At the number 4 spot from Salvatore Ferragamo, we have Aqua Essenziale Blue. Okay, so last but not least, and if you're still watching, big salute. I really do appreciate you. This is a fragrance that I picked up about a year or so ago, and since then I have featured it on numerous occasions. If anything, it just speaks to how much I truly love this fragrance. Fragrance number 5 also comes from Salvatore Ferragamo. The name of this one is Umo Signature. Okay, so this one is, as the name would imply, a signature scent-worthy fragrance for cold weather. It wasn't my intention coming into this to show 2 Salvatore Ferragamo fragrances in a row. Initially, my plan was to feature Halloween Man X, but if I'm being completely honest with y'all and myself, I do enjoy Umo Signature more. Of course, this is considering that you enjoy a fragrance that leans a bit on the gourmand side, which this one does. The notable notes on Umo Signature is going to include coffee, cinnamon, cardamom, tonka, leather, as well as grapefruit. Now, despite the black bottle, this one opens up fairly bright with citruses. Almost immediately, the tonka bean is going to come in and take center stage. I would say this is a tonka dominant fragrance. After a while, that will dissipate into the late dry down. You will start to notice the bitter coffee and leather notes. It gives the fragrance a mature and laid back vibe about itself. I'm assuming you would love fragrances such as Polo Red Extreme, Armani Code Absolute, as well as even Halloween Man X. I am fairly confident you're going to enjoy this one as well. At the $30 to $40 price point, it's definitely a fragrance. It's going to have you smelling great without breaking the bank. It's one of my favorite winter fragrances in general, you guys. So it's definitely one worth checking out. Out of all these, I recommend this one the most. At the number 5 spot, last but not least, from Salvatore Ferragamo, we have Umo Signature. Alright guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Those are 5 winter fragrances that should definitely be on your radar. None of these fragrances are going to cost you too much money, and they will all have you smelling great without breaking the bank. If you enjoy fragrance related content, if you found value in this video specifically, I am going to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Listen you guys, it takes like 2 seconds. Just hit the button. It's free dollars. It literally costs you nothing. I can't sit here and promise you that I have a ton of content coming down the pipe, but I do promise you that every single time I upload, you are going to be getting honest and authentic opinions, at the very least, that has to count for something. Until next time, you guys, y'all take care, stay safe. I'll see y'all around. Bye.